So, hello everybody. My name is Anna. A little bit about my background. I have an AS in animation and game art, and I've worked heavily with Pixar and animation for game development. I've worked with SparkDev for the past 5 semesters that I've been at FIU, and from there we've actually used Pixar animation as well as other types of software for our game making. So I hope I'm well qualified to teach this little tutorial on animation and pixel art. All right, so we're going to start with the website. This website is really easy to use and really easy to navigate, and it just depends on what you guys really want to do with your pixel art. So first, let's just create a sprite. So you just go create a sprite, and it's going to give you this canvas. So what happened was that I was working on a large frame canvas, so I was actually making a whole level environment within one sheet. That's why it's big. But you can actually just go and adjust your pieces, your canvases in the settings. There should be resize right here. And here you resize the aspect ratio, and they use pixel sizes. So let's just say you're doing a 16 by 9 frame. That's going to be like 1920 by 1080 pixel. So just finding out the conversion rates for like what size of pixels that you want will be the key. So let's work with 32 by 32 because that's the standard pixel size for tile maps that you use in Unity. So as you see, if you zoom out, this is how the pixel sheet will come out. This is your canvas. And from what you can do is like each little box, I have it set that it's a larger actual pen size, can either go 4 boxes or one entirely like this. It depends on what preferences you're going to be using it for and all that stuff. So it's up to you. The only thing is here, I haven't figured the shortcuts. Actually, if you hover over the icons themselves, you can actually figure out the keyboard shortcuts. But for this workshop's purposes, I'm just going to be talking about clicking back to your pen tool and stuff like that. So if you want to erase, you're just going to get the eraser tool. Again, it's with the pen size. You just get whatever you need and erase as much as you want. That's how it works. You have the pen tool, ranges 1 through 4. So depending on the ratio is how you're getting there. Then you have the paint bucket tool, which is just like paint or anything. It covers the whole canvas in whatever color you choose. If you want to choose a different color, you can use your hexadecimal ratios down here. See the little hashtag there? All numbers have all colors have like a specific like number, serial number that connects to it. So if there's a specific one that you like and you know that specific number, you can plug it in by typing it down here, or you can just search for it by moving it around to like figure out a different color that you want. Or you can choose color picker. Color picker will allow you, if you, let's just say, import an image onto here, you can choose a specific color of that image, and then it will register as that color. It will find that color in the hexadecimal range and actually be able to do all the stuff that you need to do. The move tool basically just allows you to move like the actual, like once you start painting the art in there. The shape selection is, let's just say you have a circle, you can select the inside of the circle, the outside of the circle, depending on you want. So let's try it out here. So here's a circle. Obviously it's not a perfect circle, but if you use the shape selection tool, you can select what's inside or you can select what's outside. And from there, if you use the pen tool with your here, I believe this is how it should work. There we go. Nope, it didn't work. Okay. Control Z to undo anything, but there's a way that you can actually select the outside area and yeah, hold and move the content. And then this is the lasso select. So if you want to move the whole thing, you get that, and you'll be able to move. Control T, I believe. Oops. I've been using Aseprite way too long. The shortcuts are not the same, as you can tell. But this will allow you to actually select a specific area that you need and drag and move it around. You can actually create layers on this, like Photoshop. I don't know how many of you guys know Photoshop, but Photoshop, like, use Photoshop on a daily basis. If you add that's a new palette. Where's my layers? Oh, here's the frame. But there you go. Duplicate this frame. No. Here we go. My layers up here. Create a layer. If you create another layer and another layer, it depends on what you want. This is your first layer. Let's just delete that for a second. So your second layer, let's move that down. Third layer, move that down. Okay. Edit layer names, merge with layer below. Okay. So let's just say I draw, like, let's just say a face now with this. Hopefully it's on the inside, but see how that the layers are connected? With this, you can actually just work on specifically the face. So, like, let's just say you're color toning and stuff. You can have Sonic actually his dark blue color first, and then while you're drawing his lighter colors on top, it could be on a separate layer, and then once you're all done, you can merge the layers and whatnot. So if you merge the layers, merge down, now it comes at one whole image. So that's a little bit. Let's see. Oops, let's make it bigger so I can empty this canvas. So a little bit more about how you can move around with this. You can create more rigid tools like a rectangle. So this will allow you to figure out, like, what type of sizing you need. If you need it to go to 1, so you can change it to a different type of sizing block. These are just some tools that will help you. You even have, like, circles, so you can make perfect circles. Depending on which pixel size you choose is how many pixel sizes it actually colors in. You can even flip vertically and stuff like that. So over here, when you transform an image, it's basically you're going to flip the whole image. That's what it means to flip. So let's just say you wanted, like, a head this way and a head that way. You can obviously do that easy with drawing it one way and then flipping it to the other. You can rotate it. So if you needed a cool upside down shape, but you didn't know how to draw it upside down, so you drew it right side up, but then all you need to do is turn it upside down like that. Clone current layers to all frames. That I don't recommend touching that. That's like for people who want to do extra, like, UV rays and stuff like that on this thing. I don't recommend it. And then all image to the center. That one's fun if you want to reconnect the image to, like, be centered. Let's just say you started drawing on this side and you really liked this side, but it wasn't, like, working out because you needed it in the center. So that's when you choose that, and it will just center everything. So what's next? Okay, so how you use sprites and tile maps in actual game development. So there's many different ways depending on what type of game you're using, and especially with what type of screen you're catering your pixel art for. So if it's a 16:9, which is a 19:20 x 1080 picture, you're going to want some pixels to maybe have a little more oomph. So maybe you want, like, a bigger pixel for your environment versus a 32 pixel size for your character. Your character all depends on the sizing that you want your character to be in. There's pixel animations that go up to, like, I think 128, but those are considered large pixels. That means it's 120 in height and width. So usually, and then it goes down, the smallest would be about 10 or 13 pixel sizes. And those would be for like small animals and stuff like that, that like secondary non-player characters and stuff like that. Most main player characters would be considered 36 to 64, and that's around the range of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from like from Sega, like time period, or like the Game Boy Advance Star Wars, or Sonic the Hedgehog in back in the day. Yeah, in the original console pieces. Name drops, yes. Those are very good examples on how pixel art animation and pixel art in general was used perfectly during that time with such a limited, like they were able to put so much detail into specific areas that it's just amazing. So now we understand like the basic concept of like, you know, what we want to do and stuff like that. So with a 32-bit pixel canvas, we can actually create an environment with this, which is a standard for Unity at this point. What you want to do when you're creating a tile map is you make sure that they can flow together. So you want to create an inner corner, an outer corner, a side, and then a filler. So those are the only 4 that you're ever going to need for like your tile map. And then you can just place it wherever you want on the screen. So let's start off with like creating a simple tile map. Oops, I forgot, I need to click the eraser. Let's just say we want to create a metal, like we want it to be steel. So you need nuts and bolts and stuff like that on like a specific canvas, and you want it to look like you're in a Samus sort of style, or like a Mega Man like lab environment. You want that tile that will embark on you on like a mechanic journey. So I suggest getting a gray at first. You guys can follow along, or you guys can create your own tile maps. I'm just going to show you how to create like metal based stuff. And then I'm going to teach you guys how to actually create a how do I explain this? It's a actual ground, like an earth based tile map. So we're going to work on the sides though. The sides are the most important, because the sides is going to be what you mostly have across your stage, and those need to connect in like the correct way. So if your tile map actually has like, let's just say for argument's sake, we have your tile map here and your tile goes like this, but if the next one doesn't connect here but instead starts here, it's going to look really off. So you need to have it like consistent, that it looks that they're different, but there's a flow and there's a connection. So let's start off with creating metal though first, because that's easier than creating dirt, believe it or not. So I'm going to use a paint bucket tool. I'm going to get a dark gray color, and that's my base. But when you're creating pixel art, you have to create your shadows and your highlights, which is what gives like the picture definition with your imagination. The best way I can do it is you pick an angle on where your light source is coming from. So I'm going to choose it coming from this corner angle here. So my light should be coming from here. I'm going to get my pen tool. So I want my light to come here. So I need a lighter shade of the same color, gray. I'm going to color it in. You just color it in. We're already doing this, guys. We're already creating pixel animation, pixel tile maps actually, but animation comes later. So here, now we need a shadow, right? So a shadow definitely is way darker. It's not light like a light gray, but it's dark like a shadow. And your shadows are usually the color black, or like a dark charcoal. So you take it from here, go through the opposite side. I'll fix that. I should just use this. Yes. Because I have something called a Cintiq at home, which is fancy. That means I get to actually color and do all my stuff with a pen instead of a mouse pad, which is nice. All right, so now we have our two colors, right? Now we have something that looks like a 3D box. Yeah, Wacom is really expensive, which I'm just lucky enough to actually have it because I saved up a lot for it. But besides that, let's continue. So we need to add bolts, nuts and bolts. But I feel like it's a little too plain, so I'm going to add an extra intersection. So it's going to be divided into 4 pieces. So I need a light color, which will allow me to go all the way down about to here. And then I think this is about half. And then around there. But now I got to add the shadows to this, right? So we need to actually get the color picker and choose the same color of your shadows. From there, you want to create, oops, shadows. And you want to create it on the areas that like the light won't hit. So it's going to be there, and then we're going to need one that goes across here, that, and then one that goes down like this. And then we need one more light piece that goes across. Now we're getting a little more definition, right? And I'm just going to clean this up a little because, oops. There we go. Now, we have like a 3-dimensional kind of sort of looking box. Yo, this is actual magic already. Thanks. So now we want to add nuts and bolts, right? So the idea of nuts and bolts is the same thing as your 4 corner of the boxes. It's you want to create the illusion that it has a light source. So I'm going to stick with I'm going to get the dark color, the shadow. And since our light source is coming from this area up here, we got to make sure that 1, 2, 3. Let's do that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. Those are my shadows. And the last 4th part will be in your highlight color, which is this color right here. So when you take it out and you zoom out, that's how your steel block is going to look. Well, it's actually going to look like that. I know it looks very strange, like not seeing the boxes, but these boxes actually help you figure out your ratios and how you want it to look. So it gives you like the perfect shape of what you need for your tile map. So when you zoom out, it's going to look like that, and it looks like it actually has shadow. Now, this is just showing you how metals work, actually. This is very common in terms of like metal tile maps. This is a great tool and how to figure out where you need your light source so you can make it look as realistic as possible. Like obviously, pixel art is not going to have the level of detail that you think it would unless it's done like, you know, with 3,000 pixels or more. Actually. So with this, just having a 32-bit, giving it the illusion that it has perfection is what we need to accomplish. Yeah, it's just the shadow. Yeah, I know, it's so cool, right? I'm reading the chat, guys. So, all right. So that is just one type of tile map. I'm going to do it. Actually, let's not do an extra frame. We're just going to do another layer. Another layer is going to give you another option to look at, but we're not going to merge these two. It's just to show you guys like the difference of environments. So let's zoom in again. Now I'm gonna teach you guys how to do dirt, or like ground, as they like to say, because there's many different ways that you can use it. I mean, there's sand that you gotta do. There's also like, you know, molten rock, lava that you can do, but the most common type that you guys do is like a grassland sort of style, like how you want it to look. So going with a 32 canvas, we're going to now choose your colors. Colors are very important. I don't know if I really, is it common to use pure black for the shadow? Yes, it is common to use pure black for shadows, but I like to use slightly off black because just in case I need that extra little definition on something, I use the puro black. Yeah, so that's how it works. I don't think I have been with Metal Slug yet. I will figure it out though, because that sounds interesting. I'll keep that in the back of my mind. All right, so for grasslands, we have a couple different colors, right? We have like a dark brown. We have a green. Do you guys, I think we're gonna do green. Green, dark brown, and then we need a middle color, which is like a light brown, so it gives it like the illusion that there's more to it, like dead leaves or something. So this is like the dark brown that I will use. It's almost like dirt colored. And this is like gonna be our ground. This right here will be the earth. Now, I like to do this so I can see how the colors look together before anything else. So if that one's gonna be the earth, I need one that's slightly lighter so it can give it some definition within the earth, so it doesn't show that it's all just one color. I think I'm going to need one more color that is slightly lighter, but still just as dark, which should be like that. No, it's a little too similar. I need it to go lighter. There we go, a paler one. There we go. Now that's how it works. Because if you think about how dirt works, the deeper you go, the more moist it gets, so the darker the color is going to be. When you reach more towards the surface, it's going to get paler. So learning how colors work in real life will help you how to shade in Pixel. And then the last thing would be a couple different types of greens. So you go to your green. I'm going to use a dark green. And then I'm going to use a slightly lighter green. That's pale. So those are the 5 colors. I think I did 5 colors. Yes, 5 colors that we're going to be using for this specific environment. So you start off with your base color, which is going to be our dark brown, the darkest brown that we have actually. That one you should get with the largest pixel that you can get, and then make sure that you don't cover up any of the other colors just in case, because you might lose them and that'll be a hassle to get back which colors you want. But they do save here as like the most recents, but I believe they only save 8. So it's best not to start drawing something super complex and start using a bunch of colors and you're like, oh, I need a little bit more of this one, and you go back, try to find it, it's not there. That's why we use the color picker. That'll help out a lot. So use a color picker, get the pen tool, and we just start drawing it in, which looks very strange, but this is where our earth is coming in. Our earth. There we go. Let's just say this is our earth. We want our earth to like come up here, come out here. We're gonna just give it some life. Give it like a mountain or two, lower the pixel sizing so you can get like that little extra thing that goes down like that. Put another one that goes like across, kind of like make it look like a mountain range sort of thing. But we're gonna fix a bunch of this now. So this is how. So did you use a darker brown for the rest of the earth? Yes. Okay, so what you want to do is your base is going to be the darkest brown, because the darkest brown is also going to be used for your filler. So all of these colors have to connect one next to each other. And yes, we're going to be using Terraria colors. I'm showing you how to make Terraria tile maps right now. So we're going to start off with the dark green. The darker green will ensue, like, you know, the lush green grass. The lighter green gives it the sense of highlighted grass, which where's our light source coming from and stuff like that. So I'm going to start it off with color picking the dark green. And I think I'm pretty happy with this outline of this outline specifically. Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with it. And so I'm going to get my pen tool, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to go, and I just start tracing over where I had the highest level. And I'm going to make it a little more bridgy there. I think I'm going to add 2 there. Yeah, that works. And start adding a little more underneath it, because you got to add a couple more so you can give it like a real good involvement. Because this is grass that kind of goes down into the ground, so you can see a little bit more of it. And just play with it depending on how you want your colors to look and such. I'm going to make it like a little more like molten, earthy look. So my green is going to stop at that level. I'm going to get my light green now, which should be that one. And I'm going to come across here and recolor it. So now it's giving it a little bit of dimension in terms of like how the light hits the actual grass. I'm going to keep it going on one specific area. I'm going to keep my light source over here. It's going to be hitting down here. See the layer opacity to 0. Well, I wasn't going to use my layer opacity. I was just showing you guys how to work with this layer opacity. If you don't get it right, it's gonna get you lost at that point, because once you start using that, you're not going to be able to actually distinguish like which colors you're using, and it's not going to, I feel like it doesn't really do the trick as well, especially with pixel art. I mean, it's great opacity levels, it's amazing for like, you know, more intricate artwork that has more pixels, but like when you're using such small pixel sizing, you need to be really careful with your opacity, because you might just have a transparent floor at that point, or like colors would be really off, and so it wouldn't be as strong in the game. That's why I don't use the opacity. The only thing I would probably do with that is add an extra layer of shadow, probably. But that's just me. You guys can, I mean, it's all up to interpretation on however way you want to address it. I'm going to go across here and then add that there. Now we're going to get our light brown. Our light brown that's like near the surface. With this, I'm going to just add this in here like that. So now it looks like it's a little more at the surface, right? Versus down at the bottom. I'm going to add just a couple pieces there. I don't like how that happened. There we go. There we go. That looks a little better. Get that going. And we go up like that, and we just leave those, because now we need mid color. Mid color is going to be after the green and before the dark brown. So we choose the middle ground. We just add these colors into here. Let's add here like this with that. No, go. And then we're gonna add right in here this pixel colors. And we're just gonna let it grow down like roots. I'm gonna let it grow down like roots, guys. All right, and now with this, whatever left you have, use the color picker, get the last little bits of color that you need to get in there, and let's color this the correct colors. And there you go. Now you have a, oops, I keep doing that because I think this is it. And that's how your pixel art earth is gonna kind of look. I mean, obviously you can change it to like make the earth veins look better. But this is just an overall like idea on how to like, you know, view like a mountainside or something. Like let's just say you have your character walking on dirt and grass, like that's hilly or a little more like, you know, uneven, like there's hidden rocks underneath it. Playing with a specific type of color set like will allow you to figure out what you want to use it for. Let's see. Let's add one more layer. Is there any type of other environment that you guys wanted to see? I'm going to show you guys now how to do corners in terms of like terrain and yeah. Anything else? Oceans? Okay, I'll show you how to do water too. All right, water's fun. All right, but we'll start off with corners right now. So much like our previous layer here, we have one that reaches, if we go to layer 2, if you actually count the pixels going down, that's where you need to know where to start. So if your drawing ends on pixel line, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it starts at 9. Your corner and your inner corner have to start at level 9 so it can connect kind of nice. Yeah, it is freaky how the final picture looks so different from what you'd expect. So it starts on layer 9, right? So we're reaching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right here is where we're going to start our picture. That's on one side. That's where it actually has to end. It depends on which way you're coming from. If you want to put it on the left side, it's got to be one way. If you put it on the right side, it's going to be another way. So I just figured out with my error. I believe it was 9 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it has to be down here that we don't have to like get to. So I'll just erase this portion. So it's 9 to 9. Where it starts and where it ends has to meet. Because then you can adjust it in whichever format that you need it to be. Instead of having it like, oh, since this starts at a 9, it has to end and ends at a 4. I have to put it on the 9 side instead of the 4 side. And so it just gets overcomplicated. So you got to make sure it's kind of like on even playing ground. So yeah, that's how that works. So we're going to be using 9. So it's going to be here. That's where our layer is going to start. We can have like the middle go out and come back in, but this is where our ending has to be. And now this is specifically for corners. So if you want like a corner image, that means it's going to stop wherever it is, whether it's an inner corner or an outer corner. Outer corners are much easier to do in pixel form than inner corners are, because inner corners get like that weird like they concave a little too much. But this will allow you to get like better outer corners. So it's the same technique that we had for our first image, but this time, instead of having it just flat, we're like cutting this part and we're pulling it down. So it's gonna go as an L. So basically this greenery is gonna not only be up here, but it'll be down here as well. That's how a corner image works. So let's start with our colors. I'll go with a big pixel tool because this is all going to be like that color until I carve it out. It's much like sculpting. If you guys have ever sculpted before, it's really cool. It's really fun. And you know what? I'm going to actually make it a little, I'm going to get the pen size. Just go a little bit in and out like that. Kind of like there's a ledge here. And it just pops out a little. That's how I want my corner to look. I'm going to round that off a little. And so I'm going to add a little more to the top now. Because after it attaches to the 9, I just need it to add a little oomph. So it goes down like that. So that's how my corner, I'm going to add a little more actually. And you can add however much or however less you want. It's all up to you, obviously, and it just depends on how you want your corner to look. Obviously, if you want something more rigid, you can go for more rigid. If you want something that's like a little more Terraria based, follow along. If you, up to you guys. That's the best thing about art. It's really not up to anybody but yourself. So we're gonna get our dark green again, and we're gonna start off with the outside again. We're gonna cover it, the lush land, because it is lush. We're gonna put it around, pull it around, just start coloring it in. Make sure it covers all the bases. Let's get some going across like that, and getting across like this, and add. You just add however much you want. I'm not gonna do that. Accidentally clicked my mouse in the wrong way. That would have been bad. So you just keep coloring. I'm gonna add a little extra, like grass. We're leaving the site, taking it to the big screen. All right. And so, yeah, that's how the dark grass is gonna look. Yeah, I'm feeling this. This is what I'm feeling. Feeling this. This looks nice. This is how I kind of want it to look. So it works. Let's add one more there. Because I'm looking at it also on this screen, so it gives me a different perspective from like this one. So now we just go back, we get our other colors, however many colors that you want to actually put in there or not. It's all up to you. Just go back to your layer. I'm just gonna layer it on top. Need to erase that one. And then put that pen tool, continue to cover it, because it covers here, like that. You know what? This goes up here, like that, down, like that. I think this needs a little more shading right there. All right. Now we got to just add the earth. Let's start off with your medium. I'm going to start off with my medium instead of my light, because from there, then I can actually see like where I'm going to go with this. Oops. Didn't change my pen tool. And then you go and you color however much you want. Boom, boom, boom. Like, I think I'm going to add like an extra little couple. Like, I think it's a little too green now. Just add a couple pieces of brown here. Add brown right in there, just like that. And then add whatever things that you need to make it look like it's from the earth and such. So I think that's pretty good right now. Yep, that's pretty good. And then just go back, get that one more color, because you want to keep the colors consistent across all fronts, especially for your tile map. So whenever you plug it in somewhere, it works. Oops, wrong layer. And then from there, we are gonna color. We're just gonna color that. Color this up here. That there. This. Get this right up here. That. And then we're gonna just get to here. And get that there. So there we go. And then when we zoom out, see, there we go. That's how your corner is going to. And just depending on what type of corner that you guys want to do, you can do it any colors. You can make it radioactive. So radioactive coloring for a Terraria type of terrain would be like dark purple contrasting with blue, light blue, and neons to make it like really pop. Can you zoom in and disable grid? Okay. Is that better, Connor? Okay, cool. I'll keep it at that contrast. Oh, by the way, if that was hurting your eyes, I forgot to tell you guys that you can change your type of background contrast. That when you actually export your tile maps, that this type of background will not exist there. So like depending on this, which is your contrast, this one, or this one. Depending on which level you want, it's whatever you guys decide in terms of like contrasting, whatever you guys want as your better for your eyes, basically. This is all about preference too, so it works. All right, so that's how you make a corner, basically, and how you make an inner corner now. It's just the same thing, just inverted. Did you guys get that? It's just inverted. So instead of making it point out, you just make it point in. So your color would be here instead of out here, which I know it sounds weird, but that's how it works. But yeah, you can also use inner corners and outer corners almost as vice versa. I like to use them as different ones. Like I like to create them slightly different so you can say, oh, that's the inside corner. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. After like I explained this, I'm actually going into character animation and we're going to just use. Okay, so now with this, we have what we call our environment styles down. You guys can use whatever you want. Oh, I have to do water before I actually go and show you guys animation. So I'm just going to open Pixel app on another one because I want to show you how to animate water. So go on, create your new, I gotta resize this again, 32 by 32. Okay, so water. How does water work for in the environment? We obviously want it to like move like an actual like ocean, like the waves and stuff like that. So first things first, you gotta get your colors down. You're gonna need a dark blue, a kind of middle blue, and then a somewhat light blue. And depending on how you want your water to look, yes, this we're animating water now. So depending on how you want your water to look is how it's going to need to be. And you got to make sure that they end evenly at 9 by 9. Just letting you know. And so let's start. I'm going to choose I'm going to make it like a dark blue. But actually, I'm going to make it like acidic. Actually, I'm going to make lava. Lava and water are very similar. Their colors are just different. It's the same principle, just different colors. See? Super cool, right? So follow along if you want to do lava or water, just depending on which color you guys want. You can even make moss if you want to. So I'm going to start with a dark burgundy because that's going to be my base. So this is my base for my lava. That's going to be my dark burgundy. But then it has a lighter color, like a more bright red. So this will be like the highlight, bright red for my water. And then it has this, I believe it's like a nice magma type of color. So it should be an orangey color, slightly bright. I think I'm missing one more color. I think I'm missing just like a darker orange so I can give it like that sunburst color. So bring it down a little bit. There we go. So now I have my 4 colors for my magma water. First, you got to actually create 2 types of magma water, but we're going to do that in a moment, which is good. It's going to be really easy to actually animate. So, and depending on the speed is depending on how many frames on the frame rate that you have. This is also how you make GIFs, by the way, which nice concept. So I'm going to start off by starting to fill in the color that I need. Oops, wrong color. All right, fill in the color that you need, start making it. And I'm going to make it stop about here. Like this height right here is going to be where my water starts and ends, but it's going to reach up, come back down. And go to lower pixel sizes so you can get more definition. And you know what? It's going to spray a little up here because it's water. It's a water-like thing. And so we're going to have the sprays like that. Yeah. Those are our particles. So get your other colors. We're going to have to do the same thing that we did with the terrain and create like an illusion that there's like more to it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make these pockets that make it look like there's actual like rocks on. And then from there, just add one more here like this. There we go. And now we're going to add the bright orange colors to the highlights. Just like this. Like that. Oh. Like that. I'm going to put them there. And then we're going to just add this in there. Add that right there. Right in here like that. And then however you want to actually create your water. Depends on what you guys want. And now I'm going to actually add my magma color. So my magma color will brush down through here like that. And brush up through like that. Follow this down. Follow that down. Follow that down. It's looking like some magma. All right. Get this color and fill in all the stuff that you missed, that you didn't want to get to before. So yeah, I'm going to leave these colors like that because I think that gives it a little extra something. And I think I need to actually add more of that color, of these colors, actually inside the filler. So when I zoom out of it, yeah, when I zoom out of it, I need a little more oomph to it. Just like water, it's like seeing the rays of the sun come through, like straight into the water, depending on like how you want your water to look. Like that's how it would work. So just start adding the colors however you need it to be, all that stuff. I'm gonna put that there, up here. I'm gonna add some coloring right here like this on across. And then we're just gonna grab that last red, which is nice and bright, and then finish adding it to these specific areas that you just added. And then, yeah, that looks a little better. That actually looks way better. Yeah, that looks good. All right. So what you're going to want to do when you want to animate this is you want to create this specific frame on multiple locations. And then in between those frames, you add the opposite side of this animation, of this picture. So I'm going to duplicate this frame, duplicate the frame, duplicate the frame, duplicate the frame. I'm going to do it 8 times. This one. But I don't like how it's going by 12 frames per second. This is 24 frames per second, but let's do 1 frame per second. So if you look over here in the corner, this is how you're going to see your animation, how it works. So when you add these frames here, I'm like showing you such like a a jagged version of this because you can make this so much more fluid if you add like the in-betweens. And that's what we're going to talk about on the actual like character animation portion. So with this, it actually allows you to create duplicate frames, and then you do the vice versa of each, so it'll give it the idea that it's going like this. But obviously, you got to adjust the frame rate, see which type of frame rate works for you. I like to do things in 30 frame rates, so 30 frames per second. So that means you're going to need 30 frames. And depending on how long you want it to be on one specific frame, how long you want it to be on the middle frame, or like on the third separate frame, depending on how many you have, that's when it'll come in handy in terms of how to work with it. But just adding the frames here will give you a new frame. So basically your animation is going to be looking like left, right, left, right. And I have it at an animation level of 1 frame per second right now. So that is just for like environment. And now you guys kind of know how water works. And that's how easy you can do pixel environments. Let's open a new page. Let's duplicate this. All right. And so let's resize this to 32 again. Okay, 32 and 32, enter. All right, so now I'm going to teach you guys quickly how to actually use a walk-in animation. So most of your characters that you have, like, you know, in Nintendo, in the old-time Nintendo, or in any pixel game that you play, they have like a specific like little animation, like, you know, the head will bounce when it's walking and stuff like that. Pixel animation goes along the same route as regular animation. No matter how detailed the name of the site is Pixel App. No matter how many pixels that you actually have on screen, you can always tell a story and show emotion through like how the person can walk. So I'm going to do something really easy. I'm going to make a, you guys are going to laugh, but I'm going to make a stick. I'm going to be, it's a stick man. Like, you know, the little ones that you used to draw as kids. I'm going to use that as the principle of animation so I can show you how to make this guy walk, because it'll be the easiest so everybody can understand how it works. So there are 12 principles to animation. We're not going to go through all of them, but timing, the bouncing, and well, it's called squeeze, and and actual like frame rates, basically, like, which is timing. Those two are the most important in any type of animation. And follow through. Yes, follow through. So let's just say the follow through would be like if you're throwing a baseball, you don't just stop there after throwing a baseball. Like, you don't just stop throwing it here. You throw it all the way across your body. So that's how you get the animation to fully throw. But we're going to start off with a simple little stickman animation of this guy walking. So I'm going to make, this is his head. You know what? I'm going to make him that he's like kind of here. Here's one leg. Here's another. Here's his arm. And here's the other arm. All right. So that's how my main guy is going to look. Well, this session automatically end at 2, right? Oh my gosh. Well, did it end at 2 automatically? No, it's still going. So I think we're good. If you guys need to go, I understand, but this is just what's going to happen now. So I'm just going to teach you guys this real quick. So you would add, sorry, delete this frame. You would duplicate this frame, actually. And once you duplicate the frame, you see how this leg, let's just say this is the back leg right now. That leg needs to now go to the back. And we need to make sure that this whole guy moves. Bye, guys. Thanks for coming. So what I like to do is I like to select the whole thing. And if I can just select this whole thing. I want to move it. Nope, that's not what I wanted. And these are the times where A-Sprite comes in handy, because A-Sprite lets you get that specific like movement that you need. So I'm just gonna make this janky. Actually, I'm gonna make this super janky. So one arm is up, one arm is down. I'm gonna erase this arm and erase this arm. Then this leg is gone. And this leg is gone. We're going to have the leg that was pointed out here. We're going to have it point back here now. We're going to have this one point this way. And we're going to have this arm go down and this arm go up. So if you see over here in the corner now, I'm going to slow this down actually a little bit so you can see a little more. It kind of looks like he's jumping now. So the idea of animation in pixel art is just knowing which pixels you need to change so you can get some sort of movement in. Obviously, this is super janky, and because I didn't have enough time to actually go through this. A-Sprite, I don't know if it's free. I know you can sometimes get it on sale with Humble Bumble. I think that's the site. Yes, I think I just like butchered the name. I know it's Humble or Bumble. It's $19.99, but they have a trial on, yes, Humble Bumble. Yeah, because they have super sales, and I think you can get it for like $1 if it's on sale or something like that. So it's really good. And then from there, like knowing which shading pieces that you need to move, that's how you would actually animate it here. So like, let's just say you had shading on this frame where light hits. Let's make it that the light is like this nice pink. Light hits this hand right here and like this angle. Like it's always going to hit that angle, but it's going to hit here as well, let's just say. And then it hits this leg. But then on the second frame, it hits this arm. But this part now, this head piece right there, and then this leg. So depending on your angle and depending on like which this actually would actually be all colored. So depending on like, you know, how much light exposure is being exposed, like it just has to do with color, lighting, and like timing and follow through, obviously. But that's how you would make like a little animation. Like this is where you can make GIFs and stuff like that. So depending on like what you want to do, that's how it would work. So It is 5 minutes past when I was supposed to end. Does anybody have any questions? Because I'm willing to answer them. I mean, I'm up. I don't know if you guys have other seminars that you wanted to get to, so like you guys can go to those, or did you have any other questions? Because I'm answering questions now through the chat, I believe. So, yeah. Or did you guys want me to keep going with this animation? Is the process of going from Ace-Write to Unity and using in-game engine simple? It's super simple. Super simple. All you got to do is export your tile maps or your character animations into PNGs. Make sure it's in like, one file, and it's like the whole animation. Like make sure you know where it is, because then Unity will ask you to import an animation. It's an animation script, but it's like a whole thing. And then from there, the animation you just pick the first picture, and the rest should follow automatically in, because it's technically a script. Oh, thank you so much. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And if you guys ever are interested in pixel animation, there's so many tutorials online that actually ever work. Yes, and then you apply colliders to your pixel art. Yes, Alexander, that's how it works. Because then you would add an actual, like, kind of object box around your animation, or like your ground, and you would use it there. Super fun to follow. Oh, thank you guys so much. Okay, that's awesome. I'm glad I got feedback for this workshop. I didn't know it was my first one. I was kind of nervous. I smiled, Tate. Did you get it? Thank you guys. Thank you guys for coming. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys learned a lot. First time animating, you made it so much fun. Animation is so much fun. It's hard at first, but once you get the hang of it, you're never going to forget it. Oh, awesome. Beautiful. I'm so glad. Oh, you guys are great. Honestly, I love this group already. I wish I had another one. Yes, this is a Charmander. I got it for Christmas. We can all take over Terraria. We can all make our own jank games. Yes. Have a good night. Bye, guys. Okay, so I'll stay on until like the last person leaves. If you guys have any more questions, like, just let me know. You joined in late. I can give you like a quick like rundown of what we did if you want. Okay, so what we did first was we actually figured out how to create tile maps for your games. So I showed you guys how to actually create, like, use the entire software, how to get your pen tools. It's very self-explanatory, especially if you hover over the icons and stuff. What you got to really know about pixel art is make sure you know where your lighting source is, so you can add your shadows and your highlights. So this is a metal tile map. So when you zoom out, it looks like it's an actual piece of metal, but it's just 3 different colors. It's a shadow, a highlight, and a base color. So that's how it kind of works. You get your base color, make it the most seen color, then just add little highlights where your light source is, because my light source is coming up from up here. And then from there, angle it down. Make sure you add the details that you want. These are nuts and bolts that are holding it down, sort of thing. So that's how it looks. Here you create your layers. So then that's like a metal environment. This would be a terrain. You can change the colors however you want. I suggest 5 colors be your spectrum, because with those five colors, it'll give your actual pixel art some dimension, so you can actually go through it and really work with it. And then from there, make sure that it ends on the same light that it starts. So like this ends on the 9th pixel, as well as this one, because pixels are all for precise measurements. And then if you want to do like a corner or an inner corner, like you have to make sure that it starts off on the 9 pixels to make sure that like it can flow correctly onto it, because you want to use this in multiple situations, so you want to make sure that they all like connect perfectly. It's like when you were drawing as a kid, like the ocean, that you wanted each little wave to connect. It's kind of like that. And then I showed you guys how to actually animate, like, you know, water. I did lava because it's easier to see the actual colors. So you would get your water look. You color it however you need to. Get the light source as well, because the light source is up here. But this also has an inner light source, which is different because water and magma go through with light source. So you would have to scatter the actual light source around like the inside filler area. And then what you would do is you would duplicate the frame and put it every other frame. And then every other frame, you switch the image vertically so it can have like that kind of like movement effect as you see in the corner. You can add more for an in between, so it's one that goes down, then up, down, then up sort of thing. And it all depends on you guys because that's how it works. It's just however you want to do it. And then this was just showing how a little bit of animation works with a character. I didn't have enough time to actually get to this, but basically, like, just know where your lighting source is and then make the opposite happen with the legs and the arms. So the right leg is down, but the left leg is up. Right arm up, left leg down, left arm down, but now it's opposite. And so if you see in the animation over here, he looks like he's jumping for joy. And basically, that's the entire workshop of what we did. I think that was good. I mean, it was all in one. Honestly, it looks like fun. And it's all up to you guys on how you guys create your things because it's your creation. Honestly, it's how you want it to look. Like, you can have the jankiest, like, little ghosty from Pac-Man, or you can have like a really odd stick figure with some sunburn on it as your main character. I mean, as long as you know the principles of animation, specifically timing, follow through, and squeeze in, squeeze out, then you would be perfectly fine. Digital art is fun. I recommend using Aseprite or this website. This website is good, but Aseprite gives you a little more control in terms of like animation source. But besides that, Photoshop is also very good. I love Photoshop. I'm a Photoshop fiend. That's all I do. And like, Photoshop is a whole other monster though. A nice free version of Photoshop would be Krita though. Krita works very similarly to Photoshop, so if you ever do make that transition from a free service to a paid service, it wouldn't be too hard to transition. Krita is definitely a good free source. Aseprite is not free, but they do have sales on Humble Bumble. Sometimes it is on free. And you can also use paint. Yeah, just make sure you know your canvas size. That's how you need to know. Standard Unity uses 32 pixels, 32 by 32. But you can go however big or small, depending on your preference and how you want your game to look. Awesome. Good. So, any more questions? No problem. I'm glad you guys came. No more questions? I mean, there's 11 people here still. So if those 11 people have any more questions, let me know. Yeah. All right. Good night. Good night, guys. If you guys have any more questions, I'm here to answer them. But if you're just staying on this just to talk, or did you guys want to see my dogs one more time? Is that what it was? Arlo. Oh, look at them. Sleeping with their belly up. That's Arlo. That's the big one. Look at him. Look how cute he is. Bailey's nuzzled right here. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah. Alrighty, I'm gonna close this out. This was fun. I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you guys learned something. And I hope you guys really do continue with your own pixel art, because I think it's a really good idea to get your creative side juices flowing. So, all right, have a good night, guys. Bye.